Hello my dears, welcome back to Let It Cook cooking channel. Today we're doing something Italian again. We're making pasta maripiselli today. For this we need calamari. I've already cleaned them and separated the heads from the tubes. Then we have here shrimp, tagliatelle, thyme, garlic, a dried chili, peas, vermouth, fish stock, salt and pepper, and a bit of tomato powder. So first I cut the calamari into pieces, these tubes here just into 3 pieces each. Nothing more. As I said, I've already washed them thoroughly once. You can buy them ready to cook, but mine weren't. Be careful with those. There's always a little quill inside you need to pull out. What we're going to do now is cut the fish into small pieces and fry them in the pan first. And with really high heat just for a short time. With these calamari, the rule is that there are basically 2 ways to cook them. Either you cook or fry them very briefly, or for a very long time. Especially if you use sepia, those thick cuttlefish tubes, a lot of people end up with them tough, I'd say. And that's because they were cooked for too short a time. The thicker ones really need to be braised a bit longer, I'd say. Let's turn it up to full heat. Pour olive oil into the pan. I've already chopped the garlic beforehand. It's young garlic. Here I have a bit of thyme. I'll just add a little of it for sautéing. I just want a hint of flavor in there, that's it. And now when the pan is really nice and hot, just add the shrimp. And add the calamari. And now don't move them around the whole time. Set them down, season with salt and pepper. And then it goes. If you're wondering why I'm wearing such a beautiful glove, it's because I was too clumsy polishing a glass and somehow stabbed the stem of the glass into my hand. So just very briefly, we just want to hit them with some heat so they get a quick sear. And that's enough now. Now take these out and make sure the juice stays in the pan. Yes. Now add the squid heads. They need to simmer a bit longer. Then you can chop the chili into small pieces at the same time. I have a dried chili here, but of course you can also use fresh chili, absolutely. I don't have any fresh ones left right now, so the dried one will do as well. If you want it spicier, just use a bit more, yeah. This fish stock, yeah. I still had some fish stock frozen, and earlier I peeled the shrimp and briefly sautéed the shells, then deglazed them with fish stock and strained it again, yeah. I wanted to have the flavor of the shells in my stock as well. That's why I did it. That's always a good trick if you want to get a bit more flavor in there. And one more request. Dear Italians, if you have pasta and you put shrimp in it, then please, please, please without the shells. It really annoys me when those shrimp tails are still on there. You're eating pasta and I don't know what they're thinking. You have to mess around in your pasta with your fingers. Remove the shell, cook the sauce with it for flavor, then add the shrimp afterward. It shouldn't be that hard, but I always get so worked up about it. They all do that. You probably know it too. Those little tails on the shrimp that nobody needs, yeah. So now the vermouth goes in. Then just add a bit of thyme, let it infuse briefly. Add the fish stock. Add a little more salt and pepper. I don't think there's a single guest who wants to have these things in there. Please write it down in the comments below. Does it annoy you as much as it annoys me? Or am I the only one who's so pedantic? By the way, I've already put some water on over there. It's well salted water with a lot of sea salt. My loyal fans already know that. I'll step out of the fog now. When you cook pasta, the water has to taste salty when you try it. Have you ever tasted the water? No? Then give it a try. Taste your cooking water. It should taste almost like seawater. If it doesn't taste salty, then you're just cooking the pasta in there. The pasta will taste bland and then it will pull all the flavor out of your sauce. That doesn't make any sense at all. Now I forgot to add the garlic while sautéing. I'll just add it in now. Let's not be too strict about it today. If you're making this at home, please sauté the garlic briefly as well. But I'm not going to dirty another pan now. It has a similar effect. Add chili to it. And now the tomato pulp goes in. You can use canned or chopped tomatoes or whatever you have at home. I just happen to have some pulp. That's why I'm using pulp now. And now this will be cooked briefly. Let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Add a little more olive oil on top. I'll let this simmer for a bit now. Meanwhile, I'll put the pot on for the pasta. The sauce has been cooking for about 5 to 8 minutes now. Now let's add the pasta. That will also need about 10 more minutes. Now the peas go into the sauce. Yeah, that's a bit unusual for us with the peas, yeah. But actually in Italy, that's very, very classic, funnily enough. They do that quite often. And now we want to try copying something from them. After all, they are the inventors of the dish. Now you can add a small pinch of sugar, just to take away a bit of the intense sharpness and acidity from the tomato. Yeah. Just a few grains here. Zum Gegensteuern to counteract it. And now I'm already taking the time out again. All right, I also forgot to mention some parsley. Yes, of course, I'll add it to the recipe below. Don't worry. We'll chop that up a bit more now. They'll be added fresh at the end. I just checked again with my friend Daniel. You might know him, my former roommate. He's half Italian. I called him again, just to make sure I don't mess up the dish. And he told me something really interesting that I didn't know myself. I'll tell you now. The Italians believe it's either garlic or onion. They rarely use both. And that's why I thought, okay, I'll try that today as well. Today I'll just use garlic and leave out the onion. Normally I would always add a bit of onion at the beginning, but I'll skip that today. Okay, now I'll add the parsley on top. The pasta is al dente, I'll drain it now. You can also put it directly into the pan with tongs, yeah? Just run it through the strainer quickly. I only cooked pasta for 2 people now. That's why, of course, there's way too much sauce. But that doesn't matter at all. I'll reheat the leftovers tonight with 2 more servings. So now let's bring the sauce to a quick boil, yeah. Let it get hot so it starts to simmer. And then what's really important, you add the calamari and the shrimp and then turn it off now, yeah. So don't cook it much longer. If you keep these in now, they'll get tough and chewy. We don't want that. Let's give it a good shake. Look how beautiful that looks. And it smells fantastic. And now the pasta has been briefly drained. Put the pasta directly into the sauce. Toss it. And guys, pasta needs sauce, yeah. So, I get this so often. You see, that's how pasta should look. Everything has to be creamy. Yeah, not too dry. And yeah, don't skimp on the sauce, my friends. And now we just add this in. Made a bit of a mess. You know me. I've really enjoyed that lately. Now put the fish rings on top, like this. And now. So now we'll add a little splash of really good cold-pressed olive oil on top, like this. If you like, you can just sprinkle a bit of parsley on top now. Yeah, it always looks nice. Of course, it also tastes good. A bit of pepper, like that. And there you have it. I would say a 23 euro pasta nowadays. That's what they cost. At least here in Munich, they cost 23, maybe out in the countryside. They're a bit cheaper. But this tastes better than at any Italian restaurant if you make it yourself. Well, my dears, what can I say? Comment like, bah, you know the drill. I'm just having fun now. I'll skip it today. And now let's try the whole thing. As I said, it sounds odd, but I found it really delicious. Maybe a bit too much. Fantastic. No kidding. Tastes excellent. Try it yourselves. I would say this would cost 22 or 23 euros at an Italian restaurant. If you make it at home, it only costs a fraction of that. Tastes much better. You can put whatever you want on it. Give it a try. It's really a fantastic dish. Have fun cooking it, my dears. See you next week on Let It Cook Cooking Channel. Take care. Have a great week. Bye. See you.